Peace, love, and light. Welcome to the existence changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. And I'm the pastor, the founder, the teacher here, Pastor Walker, your guide on the path to spiritual excellence and evolution. Certainly, we give all esteem and honor and gratitude to the creator of all for the life spark and this opportunity to again explore the message in conjunction with the word that is given on another day of rest. Certainly, I'm grateful for the inspirational ministry and those that are being impacted by the words that are given there. And of course, it may take a more informative turn in the more recent days, but for right now, it's it's geared towards creating an inspiration to inspire, to uplift those that hear the message. I'm grateful for this time of awakening and this time of gnosis, of esoteric information that has been taught throughout the mystery schools and in the ages before, to the which that our own, in Hebrew, Mashiach, Messiah, Christ, Jesus, Yahweh, as he's referenced, uh, went through from age 12 to age 30. You know, that's 18 years of studying. That's why he was profound in the parables that he gave. That's why he was profound, and he was capable of executing the so-called miracles, as they say, towards other people. Yeah, please forgive me for the R's because I'm trying to get rid of these R's. You know, I've been blessed with the opportunity to partake in, again, in Toastmasters. So I'm becoming more aware of the use of that word. They have what we call an counter. And every time you use that word, they're going to tell you how many times you used it because they're called filler words. You know, in regards to public speaking, it is always far better to stop and pause to reflect on your next thought than it is to use the word and all of those other words that we use. And I noticed that another word that I use, and I'm getting off track here a little bit, is okay when I'm teaching. So I'm trying to perfect my diction so that when I'm presented with the opportunity in the future to be a public speaker, I would have perfected my dialogue, per se, getting back to the mission. I'm grateful for those that are watching this video. And if this video and the video on my channel are a blessing to you, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will encourage you to be of a financial gift towards this work, because it still costs money to do this work. For those that this word benefits or you feel moved to, you can cash at me at $IBSHC. That's money sign, the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. All righty then. We left off first we're going to pray, or we're going to affirm in. The reason I say affirm in now is because when you utilize the word prayer, prayer is addressed to an outside source. We have been taught in religion to look outside of ourselves for the God that created us. When the God that created us put a part of itself within us. Excuse me. But we never tap into that part of us because we're too busy looking outside of us. When Yahweh Shah, Jesus said that the kingdom of heaven is not with observation. It's not outside of you. He said the kingdom of heaven is within. So you have to learn to go with. So affirmations take us within. It takes us inside. It causes us, excuse me, I got to plug up my laptop. It causes us to go within to connect to the power that is the spirit that gives animation to this body, and the soul to the which that you are outside of this body, even though it dwells within. The soul is the intelligence, the consciousness that resides within. So we're going to go there for a minute, and then we're going to go ahead and go back into our lesson topic. I may finish it this week, hopefully. If not, stay tuned for next week. Let's affirm. Creative all, we give all esteem and praise and honor for the life spark that's given to us. Thank you for such empowering and blessed week, empowering and prosperous week. We're thankful for the existence of knowledge, understanding the word, empowerment, elevation. We're grateful for the relationships that we have with those around us, and for new relationships that we will embark upon our path as we continue our life's journey and mission. We're grateful for all the things that are given to us that pertain to life and godliness, and the things that are needed and desired. We humble ourselves and confess that we have no sin. In any transgressions against universal law and divine law, we repent that we may be in alignment for elevation. I humbly ask that you would think through my mind and speak through my mouth those things which are beneficial for the edification of those listening. In all things, we're grateful. We're grateful for enlightenment, empowerment. We're enlightenment for elevation and exaltation, ascension, and most of all, the power to create in this life. We give all honor and esteem to you. I speak these things before the throne of the Creator, that it may come before the throne of the Almighty. So be it. Again, welcome to the existence changing experience that is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. I know you see me with my Superman shirt on. For years, I thought that this S stood for Superman, super. But it's actually the Kryptonian symbol of hope. Okay, and whenever we're bringing forth truth, necessary knowledge, information, it is with the understanding and the desire to bring hope to those that view this information and incorporate it in your life. And I pray that you take these messages seriously, even though they're not the traditional and all that stuff that pastors are doing, all the tomfoolery of keeping you entertained. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to inform you. Now, I might say a few things that might tickle myself, on whether it's funny to you or not. If it tickles me, I'm gonna laugh at it. But that's not the purpose of this channel. That's not the purpose of this ministry. This ministry, this work, this service. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me get rid of that word. This service is to bring you to a higher level of consciousness, even as I work towards ascension myself. It is the mission that I signed on for, I agreed to before I came into this realm. That's why the universal energies and the angels and my spirit guides work tirelessly, and the ancestors, to bring certain information to my awareness, not only for myself, but for those of you that watch these videos, because the earth is changing her frequency. Gaia is changing her frequency. And those of you that do not elevate yourself, that will not be a part of the rapture, the resurrection, and all of those things that the Bible and religion uses, you will be stuck in the third dimension, in the hell that you're in. You might not think your life is hell, but the control and the powers that be, they have some wicked plans for you when you're left behind because your vibe is not high enough. And they're trying to lock us in. So and this is just a portion of my work. I'm about to get down and heavy to really discuss it, because we have to tear up the construct that's keeping us bound. I didn't choose God when I was born, and Jesus, I didn't know who they were. I'm a product, just like you are, of religious programming that was passed on through our parents. It's time to break that. It's time to become the God again that you once were, and send out of here and stop feeding the archives. So we started last week with our lesson topic: Hear No Evil, the magic of music. And I'm only using music because music is a Trojan horse that is utilized to access your subconscious mind to bring about the will of those that are doing the programming. I'm simply here to provoke thought, to open your eyes so that you can use discernment when listening to music, when listening to information, when listening to people, more especially music, because music lowers your defenses. Now I'm going to pick up with the scripture from last week, and then I'm going to read a statement, because I went in last week and I defined the words, and I apologize for my video last week because for some reason Zoom was acting a fool and it kept dropping. So a lot of what I said was missed in those drops. And unfortunately, I can't really recall what I said, but what I can do is try to reiterate and build upon the things that were that remained, that were said. So I'm going to pick up those of you that have your Bibles, your laptops, your iPods, your iPads, your desktops, your scriptures, however you read the word, however you're viewing this video. We're going to start with, in Hebrew, Yohanan Mark, or in plain English, Mark or John Mark, the 4th chapter, verse 24. Now, I read the angel number last week. You can go back and watch the first video. I did get that much in there. We're going to pick up with Mark, the 4th chapter, verse 24, and we'll pick back up where we're going. Mark 4:24, King James. And he said unto them, take heed what ye hear. Pay attention to what you're hearing. With what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you. And unto you that hear shall be more given. For what judgment you meet, all right, what judgment you meet in your intuitive listening, with your heart and with your spirit and your mind, will be given back to you whatever you hear. Because when it goes into your subconscious mind, it goes into the production center to be presented back to you as a manifestation. That's why he said, and unto you that hear shall more be given. We need to learn to listen, to hear with discernment and understanding, so that we're not affected blindly by the frequencies that are put out through this music, the subliminal messages, the masking. I talked about that last week. Remember, Marilyn Manson said, music is the strongest form of magic. Why is music the strongest form of magic? Because it lowers stress, releases cortisol and dopamine, and mirror neurons. Those are the neurons that control the rhythmic, the rhythm, and it causes you to mimic the emotions that you get when you listen to those songs. Just like if you play a song that has a rhythm and a beat and a frequency that excites rioting, that excites all this, it ain't gonna be long for somebody swinging before somebody fighting, because they're mimicking the emotion from the music through the frequency that's intruding their subconscious mind. While not literal mind control, music can be a powerful tool for influence by evoking strong emotions, synchronizing group behavior, and even altering perceptions and decision making. Studies show how music can make people feel more powerful, change their moods, and trigger psychological responses like dopamine release, making it an effective form of persuasion for both positive and negative ends. That's why I told you, it don't matter what music you listening to, because this is the gospel music too. You're being controlled by the gospel music. How am I being controlled by the gospel music, Pastor? When you hear the musician hear that tone, oh, you get primed. Oh, we about to start shouting. And then you hear that, no, 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 no. Oh, they getting more fancy with it now. You prime the shout and run all over the church, to scream and holler. Now you ain't hearing nothing Rev saying. He can tell all the lies he want. Why? Because all that dopamine been released in you. You high. You on a spiritual high from all that shouting and running and screaming. So you open more so if you got the wrong leader to subliminal suggestions. So I'm not here to bash a particular type of music. I'm telling you to be aware of all music, because even gospel music is using hip hop in the same tones and frequencies. That were changed from 430 or 432 to 440. Oh, I'm gonna get into that. Right now we're dealing with the gateways. I'm telling you to be aware, because music is in our commercials. It's all over the place. And an untrained mind and an unconscious mind will absorb what is being imputed into that mind and carry it out later. What do you mean? You hear certain songs when certain females talking about utilizing their female anatomy to make men bow down, and they have certain movements when they put that music with the videos. Guess what happens when that music is played in the club, or when that music is played in the group of people of females? They start acting that out. The same thing with men. Why do you think twerking became such a big thing? Because that frequency, that low level frequency, struck that that base chakra, and it makes females automatically conform to the twerking act. It's a control mechanism. Why do you think that y'all listen to gangster rap and that rap to get you hyped up before they go trying to shoot somebody or fight them? Because naturally, your consciousness or your conscious will tell you, hey man, you know this wrong, man. You don't need to be killing nobody. You know, we don't need to be going to jail, or fear may set in. So when they put that music on, that music overrides the fear. It overrides the conscious. It gets you locked in again. We about to peel these niggas cap back. I hooked it up and I took my gun, and then I went around the corner and I run and run and like, bust off, bust off, bust off. Now all the niggas are dead. Well, I never said I was a rapper. But you get the gist. You acting it out. You carrying it out. And you don't even realize you're being made to carry out what the music is telling you to do. It's a Trojan horse. Let me stop yelling or lose my voice. So we already know that the effects on the brain of the music affects the brain through the auditory cortex, which is made up of the brain stem, the basal ganglia, amygdala, and the neurocortex. I did get into those last week. So let's deal with it this week. I said it's a control mechanism. Well, how does music exert control? Let's get it. Music controls emotion and your mood. Music's ability to trigger emotional responses is well documented. It can make people feel happy, sad, or nostalgic, which means to bring you back to fond memories, which in turn can affect their decision-making abilities. Yes, that's why they put the music on the food restaurant on the food commercials because it gets into that auditory cortex, and then all of a sudden you perceive with your eyes what's on the screen, and knowing that you're not supposed to be eating at Burger King and McDonald's, it makes you go get it. Knowing that you should be buying all these items that you're seeing in Target and all these places, but they put some music to it. So guess what? It bypasses your defenses, your conscious defenses, and the next thing you know, you at Walmart or you in Target, just getting it in shopping. Music also synchronizes behavior. Rhythmic music can synchronize the physical actions like tapping feet and even the mental processes of a group. I just told you about in the club when a certain song come on, how the women act, how the dudes act. You just get caught up in it, and all of a sudden, oh, hey, oh, you weren't thinking about O and N when you were on your way. You could be in your car, just like, just like to the song "Hype Me Up." You got this dude running around Atlanta, do. He kicked that boot out there, and then he do. Hype me up, hype me up. I hype me up. It's funny to me, but you got people when they hear that song come on, because I find myself laughing at it and acting it out sometimes because it's funny to me. But when you hear that song, hype me up, all you want to go, doom, hype me up, hype me up. That's the control that music has. And then put with a visual aid, man, your mind is trapped. It doesn't matter whether you're in the club or the church. The music has the same effect. It puts the same frequency out. And if you notice that the music overlaps, because you got musicians that'll bring so-called worldly music into the church and play that. I knew somebody used to play Biggie. Boom, 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 boom. And they pastor didn't even know what they were playing. But I knew, and I was laughing. But the bottom line is synchronized behavior. Rhythmic music can synchronize the physical actions like tapping feet and even the mental processes of a group. You can listen to music when you brainstorming, like jazz or something like that, and get an epiphany and come up with answers to questions that you couldn't get. Or you can listen to the Tibetan bowls, meditation music, because I try to tap into the music of the frequencies. I'm gonna get into those in a few minutes. Even the mental processes of a group explaining why it's used in military marches and ceremonies. Music influences perception. Research indicates that music with more bass, oh, there go the bass, baby, can increase a person's sense of power. This suggests that musical elements can alter our perception of ourselves and our surroundings. Music alters decision making. The tempo of music can influence the speed at which people make decisions. Fast tempos can lead to faster choices, while emotional states influenced by music can make people more optimistic or pessimistic in their decisions. And you don't think the powers that be don't realize this? Music creates a sense. Music creates a sense of a shared experience. By using music in group activities, leaders can create feelings like in the church, create feelings of togetherness and shared purpose, which can make individuals more receptive to the group's message or ideology. See how music is being used to get you to agree with the idea of another person? Examples of music as a tool for control, manipulation. Cult leaders have used music in ceremonies and group settings to direct followers' attention and create a sense of unity that can be leveraged for control. Giving us an example, Pastor. Well, those of you that have been to church, what do they do when the pastor come up and after he quote, "Will a man rob God?" When they raising offerings and the tithes, the musicians play the music. So while the music is playing, you get into your euphoria of the music, or they'll have a very powerfully emotional song sang before the time of giving to open you up, and then all of a sudden, those of you that could get $2,000, I need you to bring me $2,000 right now because the Lord is getting ready to do something in here. The offering is 2,000. I'm sorry, Pastor. I only got 1,200. I'm going to work on the 800. But that ain't what I asked you. That ain't what I told you to do. Marvin Winans. But they'll play that music before you come in to give. And then they'll play the music while you giving. So they can subliminally say, hey, I need y'all to give I need 2,000 of y'all to give $1,000. And they get it. Why? Because they create the leverage of control through the music. Now, the second one are social and political movements. Music has been used throughout history to convey political messages and rally people to cause, from protest songs, and you've seen it through the 60s and the 70s, from protest songs in the French Revolution to other forms of social and political messaging. Oppression. Historically, music has also been used as a tool of oppression, such as in the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, where Native American students were forced to perform European-style music to promote assimilation. They were subjugating the so-called Native Indians, because that's a lie too, but I'll be your huckleberry. This method was used because they didn't want to sing no European song. They were proud. But to show that you didn't conform to what we want, sing our music. Now, this comes from the notes of St. Olaf, of the St. Olaf pages. You can go and you can find that. Now, music is a means of control, oppression, manipulation. Okay. Are there any examples in the Bible, Pastor, of music being utilized to control people? Well, I'm glad you asked. Go with me to 1 Samuel, 1 Shamuel, Allah, however you want to say it. 1 Samuel, the 16th chapter, verse 23. And it came to pass. Now, we're going to deal with this because I got a bone to pick with this, but we're going to keep on going. And it came to pass that when the evil spirit from the evil spirit, but I thought God was good, but God sent out an evil spirit. The evil spirit from God was upon Saul. So you done got pissed off with Saul for disobeying you and not killing the king and keeping the women and the animals. You didn't kill everything, Saul. So now Nathan the prophet got to come and kill him. And now you got an evil spirit on you. Because I'm mad at you, Saul. Instead of me killing you, getting you out the way and establishing your successor, I'm going to torment you, Saul, with an evil spirit. When the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took a harp and played with his hands. So Saul was refreshed as well, and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. So as long as David was strong in their heart, that evil spirit stayed off of Saul. But the moment David stopped, here he come again, jumping back on Saul, tormenting Saul. It was used to control the evil spirit, to run the evil spirit away. You know, they put it in plain sight, but we think that these are fairy tales that we get, that they're cute. Oh, they're just stories. Not in America. Not in the land that utilizes grimoire or grammar, evoking spells. No, not in this reality. The story of the Pied Piper, when it says that there was a town that was overrun with rats, and there was a piper that came along that said, I can get rid of your rat infestation, but it's going to cost you this. And we don't care what it is, because the rats are pooping in our food. They eating it up. They ruining our crops. They're doing all the, and they're just disease worthy. Please, Pied Piper, get rid of them. Okay, but it's gonna cost you this now. And if you don't pay this, I'm gonna get my money. Pied Piper comes in, pipes the rats out, because he's utilizing music with a particular frequency that drew the rats away. So when he gets back to the town and say, yo, break me off my bread, now the mayor and the townsfolk are backpedaling. Now, well, can we pay you in apples and oranges? Because we ain't got that bread that you said that you wanted. And I'm talking about money. I ain't talking about no bread. This is all we can give you. So you can get this and go on about your business. He was like, bet. You don't want to pay me? I'm going to come back and get your children. So he comes back and plays with another frequency that took that led all the children away. Now the parents are in anguish because you had all that bass in your chest when it came to paying me. But now I'm going to get my payment because I'm about to traffic your children. I'm about to take your children and sell them as sex slaves. Now, I know the story don't say that, but come on, man. Why would a person lure children away if they didn't have ill intentions outside of kidnapping? Oh, you going to pay me my money now because I got your children. Bottom line, the moral of the story is music was used to control two types of frequencies, but it all came through music. So same thing here. David Pied Piper, that evil spirit, to get it off of Saul, which he was being. So God go put an evil spirit on the man to torment him, and then anoint David to play the music to make the spirit go away. Come on, God. But that's the power of the magic of music. Hear no evil. And it's set up so that you don't hear the evil. That's why I named this title this. I mean, well, I didn't name it, it just fell in my spirit. But you don't hear the evil in music because you're not listening with consciousness. You're not listening with intent. You're not listening with awareness. You're not taking heed what you hear. You just letting it flow. And that's why you wake up with the music playing in your spirit. And you can't get it out your mind. Now, some people channel music. And they channel songs that they never heard before. But those people have messages. But you still got to take heed to what you're hearing so that you can get to the message. It's not just about the music, though. It's about the frequencies behind the music. Okay? This is what's called the Solfeggio frequencies. Now, Solfeggio frequencies were the original universal frequencies that are in tune with the earth or Mother Gaia or Tiamat. Now, What do the solfeggio frequencies do? Solfeggio, SOLFEGGIO, solfeggio frequencies are specific sound tones believed to promote relaxation, reduce stress, and support overall mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Through scientific evidence, though scientific evidence is limited. People use them in practices like sound therapy, meditation, and relaxation, with proponents claiming that they help with stress relief, emotional release, and a sense of inner peace or spiritual connection. Well, I know I feel it when I utilize the frequencies. These frequencies are mathematically consistent with the universe. You are a cosmic being. Your frequency is supposed to be consistent with the universe. These frequencies are supposed to keep you plugged in or tapped in. Now, the solfeggio frequencies are, and you can write them down, or you can just pause this, or you can come back and view it later or whatever. 396 hertz, 417 hertz, 528 hertz, 639 hertz, 741 hertz, 852 hertz. Wow, I just seen that. That's crazy. All of these numbers, when you flip them, are the same numbers. The 396 hertz and the 639 hertz, same number. 417 hertz, 741 hertz, same number. 528 hertz, 852 hertz, same numbers. That's crazy. But it was only 6 of them to begin with. So what does this 396 hertz do? 396 hertz reduces fear and promotes guilt liberation. In other words, all this sin mongering and sin reminding of, oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, I'm a sinner saved by grace. Oh, I was born in the sin and I was born in iniquity and sin that my mother conceived me. And all this foolishness that comes across the pulpit. 396 hertz is supposed to help you liberate yourself from that. 417 hertz influences change, in parentheses, from past traumas. 528 hertz induces miracles or transformation. 639 hertz improves relationships with others. 741 hertz influences expressions and solutions. And then 852 hertz, spiritual return. Okay? Or an awakening to higher self and cosmic connection. So when you're trying to reach the crown of the Kundalini, you might want to chant to the 852 hertz. Now, these frequencies were replaced because these were the frequencies that our ancestors, the ancient ones, operated in when they wanted to accomplish, or they listened to, or they played when they wanted to accomplish a particular endeavor. These frequencies were replaced. The 6-tone solfeggio scale was replaced gradually by a 12-tone equal temperament system starting around the late 16th century. After one of the resets, now we need to get these beings away from those things that makes them gods. This shift made the solfeggio frequencies less common in mainstream music, though the term solfeggio was later associated with frequencies rediscovered and popularized in the 1970s. They were rediscovered by Dr. Joseph Puleo, Puleo, or Paleo, however you want to say it. In the 1970s, Dr. Puleo also discovered 3 additional frequencies. Now, he discovered these 3 additional frequencies of 174 hertz. Again, that's that 174. It still goes in with the original numbers, which reduces pain. It's used for pain reduction. It is a natural anesthetic. 285 hertz with the 852 and all of that. The 85 and the 2. Again, cell repair, immune system. So when you want to repair your cells and you want to boost up your immune system on top of the herbs that you take, put on that 285 hertz. 963 hertz, again with the 963 to 369, 639, which is the God frequency, which brings you to the highest consciousness. But these are the same numbers that are repeated in different sequence. How did he discover these frequencies? He discovered these frequencies by using the book of Numbers. The book of Numbers now, out of your Bible. He found patterns in the book of Numbers by utilizing the Pythagorean theorem. And then he added these to the original 6, changing the Solfeggio frequencies from 6 to 9 in the 1970s. The 528 hertz frequency also affects the endocrine system. For those of you that suffer with type 2 diabetes and have endocrine problems, you need that, let that vibration go through your body with some headphones on. 528 hertz frequency also affects the endocrine system and autonomic nervous system. At this frequency, cortisol decreases, chronoghrelin decreases, and oxytocin increases. 528 hertz music reduces tension and anxiety. But in addition to the 1600s, when the Solfeggio frequencies were removed, because now we want to make people sick. We want to bring people under control. We're rewriting history and doing things different from we were in the ancient times. But there was another frequency swap that took place as well. In 1939, the British Standards Institute, owned by the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, from the same few families that all these companies, all these banks, all these businesses ultimately feed. They changed the frequency of music from 432 hertz to 440 hertz. 440 hertz was considered, 432 hertz was considered the love frequency. Okay? It is the frequency of physical manifestation. Physical manifestation will begin at 432 terahertz. Now, 440 hertz is considered the devil's interval. The adversary's interval. Why? Because they put an interval between you. You don't know what an interval is? It's a space. In the Navy, we used to do at a normal interval, dress right, dress. And then turn, and at a close interval, dress left, dress. You know what I'm saying? To put the proper spacing between you and the person that you marching in front or behind or beside. In front, behind. Okay? Or beside. So 440 hertz frequency is an adversary that puts you against or puts an interval or a distance between you and the love frequency. The musical standard changed from a range of frequencies, including 432 hertz, to a single international standard of 440 hertz. Why? Because there's a mind control that we finna do. We finna cut them off from their God self, from the way they naturally heal their body with vibrations, like the ancient Kemet did, like the Netaru, like they used to do. The musical standard changed from a range of frequencies, including 432 hertz, to a single international standard of 440 hertz in the mid 20th century to standardize tuning and make collaboration easier. This shift was driven by the broadcasting industry, and in 1939, International Conference in London, with the U.S. adopting the standard in 1940, and the rest of the world following in 1953. While some believe this change has spiritual or physical implications, the primary reason, the reason that they gave, line sales, was to create a universal tuning standard for live or recorded performances. Reasons for the change, okay, for recording performances, right? Okay, but riddle me this. If the world was already on 432 hertz frequency, that means the world was already tuned in to 432 hertz. So really you didn't need no change because the music was already universal at 432 hertz. You lying. They changed it to lower your vibration to get you under control. The reason, now this is the reason that they listed for changing to 442 hertz. Standardization. Before the shift, tuning varied. They lying. Tuning varied widely between orchestras and countries, leading to incompatibility in ensembles. The new 440 hertz standard provided a single consistent pitch for instruments to tune to. Why? It doesn't even matter if different orchestras were tuned different. That means my music is made my way, your music is made your way. But we can listen to both music. No, they wanted to singleize it. They wanted to put it in a straight line to make it easier to control your mind. Not the next lie, technical advancement. The growth of recording technology made a universal standard more important for consistency across different recordings and performances. Third lie, broadcasting and collaboration. The broadcasting industry pushed for a single standard to ensure that music could be played together coherently across different locations and institutions. Yeah, so we could give you one sound for frequency control. Now, the so-called conspiracy theories, but I think it's more theory than conspiracy. Some theories claim that the shift from 432 hertz was a deliberate effort to create a less harmonious or natural sound, with some citing links to specific groups or intentions. However, these theories lack scientific consensus, and many dismiss them as unfounded. Of course, they're going to do that. Of course, they're not going to have any scientific, because why? When we got an agenda to push with a particular frequency to go in a particular direction, why are we going to try to prove it wrong? We're not. Now, the effects of Fortnite, okay. I know somebody out there like, man, you tripping. All right, let's talk about the effects of 440 hertz frequency, the devil's interval. 440 hertz frequency produces salivary chronal markers. such as stress. Now, I thought music took stress away, but look at what this frequency does. It produces stress, in parentheses, biological molecules in saliva whose levels are actively changed in a predictable way according to the body's circadian rhythm. The effects of 440 hertz music on mental health are not definitely proven, with limited research suggesting it can increase stress or anxiety. But any chance of it increasing stress and anxiety is foundable, is dangerous. While other studies have found no significant difference or even positive effects like improved performance, some sources claim 440 hertz music is linked to negative effects like anxiety and aggression, though these claims lack scientific consensus. Somebody making these people get out here and act a fool and riot and fight and want to be nasty and sex, dancing and all that stuff all the time, killing people and all that other kind of stuff, beating up innocent people. Now, it is said that research comparing 440 hertz to lower frequencies, such as 432 hertz, often shows 432 hertz to be more relaxing. But a more direct link to 440 hertz negative effects is not well established, but it's said to create aggression and stress, though. Some people report that 440 hertz music can cause stress, anxiety, or aggression, and that it is less pleasant than lower frequencies like 432 hertz. Claims suggest that 440 hertz is not naturally in tune with the human body, and that it can lead to negative emotional states. Frequencies out of tune with your body, nature, and the universe. And the earth has an adverse effect on your well-being due to cymatics. Now, cymatics, okay, is sound manifesting in physical form. If you take salt and throw them on a speaker and play a particular frequency, it's going to take a particular shape. Look up the video on cymatics. But the bottom line is this. They changed the frequency, not for a positive effect on you, not for all the so-called list of things such as broadcasting and unified sound to make it sound positive. It's actually to separate you from the more soothing, more elevating frequency of 432 hertz, which can be also used to help your body to naturally heal itself along with the Savigio frequencies. So they changed the frequency from 432 hertz to 440 to bring a more negative and aggressive atmosphere into life. And to add to that frequency, they have another Trojan horse, the bass. Now, bass can also be utilized to positively affect you, but it needs to be combined with a frequency that promotes peace. The Trojan horse, bass, okay? Bass affects the brain and the body by triggering a physical response that can increase arousal or the urge to move. Hence, why they started putting bass on the music. The booty music, all that stuff, people want to twerk and do all manner of different style dances and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because when that bass hit, well, you ready to get at it then. But they know that scientifically. It wasn't because it just made the music sound better, even though bass, I'm a fan of bass. It does make the music sound good, but I'm learning to listening now with a more conscious perspective. Now, still talking about bass. It can heighten emotions and create a sense of power or excitement by stimulating the sympathetic nervous system and affecting neural activity, including regions linked to music, movement, and the brain's response to rhythm. Intense bass can also make you physically feel the vibrations. Going back to semantics, okay? Or what's that word? Yeah, semantics. It can also make you physically feel the vibrations and might activate a pleasure response, potentially even leading to a feeling of addiction for some through this more, though this is more theoretical. Okay, addiction. Going back to my example last week. And I'm sorry I got my train of thought off a little bit because it hit me. Going back to the example I gave last week. Boom, boom, boom. That was a bass guitar. Boom, 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 boom. Another one bites the dust. And they noticed that people that listened to that song were more apt to smoke weed. They wanted to smoke weed. Why? Because at that 440 hertz frequency, along with this bass, okay, with the message that was put undertone in that song, that masking, it created an addiction for weed or to get high. Now, when they realized that mushrooms or psychedelic drugs and weed was causing people to get epiphanies, to wake up, to become more conscious, they outlawed it. They stopped it from being used because the last thing they want are people that's utilizing their brain power, breaking free from the mind control. Still talking about bass. Bass affects the nervous system activation. Loud bass frequencies can activate the sympathetic nervous system, leading to an increase in heart rate and blood pressure, which contributes to heightened arousal. Neural tracking. The brain has a natural tendency to follow the rhythm of deeper bass sounds, which are more effective at capturing our attention, which is why they put the bass on the music. It catches your attention and it allows the message of the music to go into your subconscious mind. It causes you to pay attention. Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. I'm going to say it one more time. I'm not going to stop. You don't understand the words with your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind computes it. And it can't differentiate between a lie and the truth. But the more deeper bass sounds are more effective towards capturing your attention. So you need to realize where your attention is going. When you listening to the bass, you need to pay attention to the words that are being said so that you can knowingly cast them down. That's why the Bible says, casting down imaginations and anything that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. You got to catch the thoughts that are taking place when you're listening to whatever music that you're listening to, even if it's gospel music. Because some gospel music, as touching as it may be, is even the slow ones, can move you into the mindset of depression and remembrance of um, less proud times in your life. You know those times when you felt like you was at the lowest point of sin, and then all of a sudden you remembering them sins and you crying all over again and getting all emotional distraught, and all of a sudden Jesus save me, Jesus Lord, I'm so I'm so uh, what's that word I want to use? Not proud of how I used to be. Oh Lord, I remember those days. Why you want to remember days when you were less proud of yourself or when your life was at its worst? But listen to certain gospel songs bring you back there. Why? Because we need to keep you in the mindset of sin consciousness to keep you under control. But when you confess and realize that you have no sin, that you're not a sinner, you never were, you're free from that. Emotional sensory response. Bass amplifies emotional intensity and strengthens the connection between auditory or motor areas in the brain. This suggests that the effects of bass goes beyond the traditional auditory pathways and engage other engage other emotional and sensory circuits. It bypasses your traditional auditory pathways and it bypasses the conscious mind, and goes to the subconscious mind. Now, addictive qualities of bass. Some theories suggest that the adrenaline rush, potentially combined with other pleasure-enhancing chemicals, produce a response to high sound pressure. It could contribute to an addictive quality for some individuals. That is why they mix it with what you see, what you taste. They put the chemicals in the food, then the frequency that's going into your ears. The key is to keep you in a state of arousal, so that to a state of arousal and not relaxation, where you protest your. Excuse me. Let me start this over because I'm trying to wrestle with my voice. The key is to keep you in a state of arousal and not relaxation, where you possess the quality to relax and go within, constantly in survival mode and lower chakras with little to no spiritual elevation. That's what it's all about. 432 hertz gonna relax you. It's gonna allow you to go within. It's gonna let you tap into your higher consciousness. It's gonna allow the kundalini to flow. But when I keep you aroused on this bass and everything else, and that 440 hertz frequency, aggression, anxiety, all of this stuff, you ain't gonna go within because you're too focused on that. You're too busy being affected by that. Hear no evil. You don't hear the evil. You don't hear the frequency, or you don't know that you're hearing it. That's the magic of music. To keep you in a state of arousal and not a state of relaxation. Now, 2 Peter, the second chapter, verses 18 through 9 says this. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure. Y'all know what the word allure is, right? It means to cause you to come here, makes you interested. They allure, or they lead you away. Pied Piper. They allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness, those that were clean escaped from them to live in error. You were clean and vibrating highly, utilizing the 432 hertz frequency. Now you've been brought into error through 440 hertz frequency and bass. Not telling you not to listen to music. I'm telling you to listen to music consciously. While they themselves while they promise them liberty, they themselves are servants of corruption. They talking about how this frequency will unify music, and you can hear all the music in all the lands and all these lies that they told to bring in the 440 hertz. to make you servants of corruption, twerking, gyrating, fighting, acting a fool. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same he is brought into bondage. Once that music overcomes you, you're then brought into bondage. But in Vogue said, free your mind and the rest will follow. Corinthians says, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of what? Your mind. Mark the 7th chapter, verses 20 through 23. And he said, that which come out of man, that defileth the man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All of these things come from within and defile a man. But guess how they get these thoughts of adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, lasciviousness, evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. Guess how they get that to come out of you? They put it in you through the music and plant it in your subconscious mind. They put it in front of your face on the TV. That's combined with music to make it more dramatical and acceptable. And then you carry it out in one way, form, or fashion. Those things defile a man. But I'm going to leave you with this thought so that you can be more conscious and aware of what you're hearing. 1 Thessalonians, 5th chapter, verse 6 through 8. Clear my throat for this. I'm going to give it to you like real. Therefore, let us not sleep and as others do, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken, drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet, the hope of salvation. Let us not sleep as others do. Be conscious, be aware, take heed to what you hear. Let us watch and be sober, conscious, knowing, discerning, cognizant, whatever words you want to use. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. Night signifies darkness, unawareness, without conscious living or mental. But if we're going to be of the day, if we're going to be the illuminated ones, if we're going to be the ones of the light, we need to be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, guarding our hearts, because what goes into your mind goes into your heart. Your heart is the seat of the mind. This is where action is carried out from. You know those works, fornication, all that stuff I read earlier? It's carried out from here. And for a helmet, the hope of salvation, freeing your mind, freeing your mental, freeing your subconscious mind. Hear no evil. Don't hear it. But if you don't operate in consciousness and be sober, you won't hear the evil. You'll just carry it out. You can't fight what you're not aware of. You can't bring your thoughts into the suggestion of Christ consciousness if you don't recognize you're being infiltrated through music. I'm not telling you not to listen to music. Make your own choice as to music you listen to. But listen with sense, with consciousness, with power. So you're not overrun by the influence of the music. This has been the existence changing experience. That is the Institute of Biblical Studies and Higher Consciousness. I'm Pastor Walker, and it's my pleasure to come to you each week and give you the word as it's given to me. And I pray that I've said something. I hope that I've said something today to elevate your consciousness and raise you to another level of Godship and freedom. Let us affirm out. Creative all, we give all esteem, and we're thankful for this word. We're thankful for conscious awareness and empowerment. And I believe and I hope and I desire that those that are listening to this message will be empowered and lifted up and strengthened in their mental to live a more Christ-conscious life, or a conscious life, a life of empowerment and power, and not a life of subjugation and slavery. Now, as we depart from this Zoom, but never from your presence, we know that you go with us, for we keep you, we are you, and your presence dwell with us always, as well as our ancestors. Keep us until we come together again. I speak these names, these things in the name of the Creator, that it may come before the throne of the Most High Power. So be it. May the Creator bless you and keep you. May His countenance shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May He show you His mercy and bid you His peace. Peace, love, and light. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week for more of the same.